Welcome to Where Winds Meet Law series. The Kaifeng city is breathtaking, packed with details. Today we're going to break down those details and talk about the law behind the Velvet Shade. The Kaifeng city we see in the game is not only based on the real Kaifeng city, it is modelled on a legendary painting. A striking feature about this painting is that, unlike European art of the time that focused on religion, it dives into the daily lives of more than 500 ordinary people. As mentioned in my Tianyin video, the imperial system in ancient China was much more open than you might think. It was common for people to critique the emperor's policies. The painter used everyday scenes of Kaifeng to warn the emperor about issues like weak city defenses and the lack of fire alarms. At the center of the painting is a ship lowering its sails to pass under a bridge. The bridge spans a great distance and carries heavy loads, but has zero supporting pier under it. This was peak Song dynasty engineering, a massive wooden structure held together with world-leading technology. The game nails this detail. In fact, no one else in the world even sketched a similar idea until Da Vinci did it over 4 centuries later. Sadly, this knowledge was lost after the Mongols destroyed the Song. At the south gate in the painting, you can spot merchants with camels coming from the Silk Road, showing how global Song trade was. Life in late Song was so prosperous that shops in Kaifeng closed at midnight and reopened at 5 in the morning. Some shops even opened only from 5 AM to late morning and were called the Ghost Market. The game borrowed that name and turned it into a black market. The game also packs in many vivid details. Every painting around street corners is a real-life masterpiece. Even the names of many stores come straight from the Song era. Historically, only 72 restaurants had a license to brew wine, and everyone else had to buy from them. When you walk near the Sunyang winery in-game, you can hear NPCs talking about selling its wine to a famous tavern. You might feel a gap between the bustling city in the painting and the poverty we see in the Kaifeng main story. That's because in the game timeline, the Wudai Shiguo chaos had just ended and Song dynasty was founded only 1 year earlier. From this point forward, Big Zhao and later emperors pushed economic growth, promoted talents, and brought law and order. Just 60 years after Big Zhao founded Song, the government issued the world's first series of standard paper notes. Just 100 years after the main story, Song's GDP per capita was higher than the UK and Spain, while supporting a population more than 3 times the UK and 4 times the Byzantine Empire. With a quarter of the world's population living at that level, Song was richer than all its neighbors combined. The city layout is also interesting. At the top center sits the royal palace, which we cannot peek into at all. Important officials like Zhao Pu, who helped Big Zhao gain the throne, live on the west side. Commoner markets are on the east side. The split probably comes from the fact that during the Tang dynasty, the capitals Chang'an and Luoyang were west of Kaifeng, so the old money families tended to be on the west side. On the lower right of the map is the layered city ruins where we fought the Dao Lord. What is that about? In real history, Kaifeng was flooded many times. I will cover the reasons in my next video, but every time the city was flooded, the world-class engineers of Northern Song never moved the capital to safer ground. They always rebuilt the city right on top of the old ruins. This happened so many times that archaeologists have found at least 6 layers of Kaifeng city stacked on top of each other, each rebuilt by a different dynasty. Here's another puzzle. Until very recently, military defense was a major factor in choosing a capital. Constantinople had water on 3 sides, Cairo had desert protection, but Kaifeng sits on a flat plain with no natural defenses. So why did so many dynasties insist on making it their capital? Because Kaifeng controlled river traffic. Before railroads, canal transportation was the lifeline of an economy. And even today, shipping costs only a fraction of land transport. The Grand Canal links the Yellow River with all major waterways in the Central Plains, making Kaifeng the irreplaceable center of river transportation. That is why even after 1,000 years and countless rebuilds, the central axis of the city never moved. This is a unique case in world history. The Velvet Shade. The most famous place among those 72 licensed breweries is the Revery Hall. You probably guessed it. It's also real. It's a huge, lavish entertainment complex with top-notch dancers, musicians, poets, storytellers, and performers all working together. It's like mixing a Broadway theatre and a Michelin-star restaurant and a concert hall and a nightclub and a tea house and a brewery and a social club and a diplomatic guest house all in one place. Unfortunately, it was also completely destroyed when Jurgens invaded Song. The scene at the Revery Hall is also based on a famous painting. The choice was deliberate because in real history, the painter was ordered by the Shimmer of South, the ruler of southern Tang, to spy on the party, so the painting itself is basically a spy report. It's a perfect choice because the Velvet Shade is here to spy on Song for the Shimmer of South. There are also theories that the Velvet Shade is a double spy. The current head of Velvet Shade is Zhou Qiang, the wife or empress of the Shimmer of South. The Shadows in Bloom Crest tells a dramatic story. As I mentioned in my 4 Real Emperors video, Southern Tang, Liao, and later Zhou were in a 3-way power struggle. The Shimmer of South feared that later Zhou would make peace with the Khitans and attack Southern Tang first, so he plotted to turn the two against each other. At a banquet at Revery Hall, he asked his wife, Zhou Qiang, to charm a Khitan envoy. The plan worked so well that the envoy tried to kidnap her back to Liao, but the Shimmer of South ambushed and killed him before he crossed the border. A distinguished poet and songwriter, the Shimmer of South then composed a song praising a later Zhou hero for killing the envoy, tricking the Khitans into thinking that later Zhou broke the peace. This brought Southern Tang time to survive. If you watched my Tianying video, this might sound familiar. Yes, the Breeze Post assassination happened right after this. Tianying was kind of getting back at Southern Tang by using a similar strategy. The quest also features a real-life performer, Qin Ruolan, who appears in the painting. In the game, she was a guqin musician in Southern Tang who was injured during Chairong's war. Her guqin was damaged, and she had a scar on her face. Instead of quitting, she turned the scar into an orchid-shaped tattoo and performed so beautifully with her broken instrument that people were stunned. Since then, orchid-faced tattoos became a fashion trend, and her broken guqin became a luxury. Her story in real life is just as incredible. In history, a few years before the main story started, the later Zhou Emperor Chairong was victorious against his wars with Southern Tang. When he was deciding whether to conquer Southern Tang completely, he sent an envoy to gather intel. Southern Tang wanted to win him over, but he acted all serious and unapproachable. The Southern Tang minister then asked Ruolan to pretend to be a widowed commoner and serve the envoy as a lowly maid. The envoy noticed the beauty behind the plain clothes and fell for her, even writing a poem asking her to marry him. A few days later, the Shimmer of South invited him to a banquet where Ruolan sang the same poem in front of everyone. Embarrassed, the envoy begged him to keep it a secret. In return, the envoy exaggerated the strength of the Southern Tang army. Chairong then decided it would take too long to conquer the south and fought the north instead. After several victories against the Khitans, he died, and Big Zhao soon founded the Song dynasty. As you can see, the game weaves together the historical power struggles to create the Velvet Shade, a spy organization deeply involved in the game of statecraft. The entire sect is full of stories and culture that cannot fit into one video. We will soon get a quest about the Shimmer of South, and I will talk more about Southern Tang and the Velvet Shade then.